Are you thirsty for some investment opportunities? The beverage industry is full of cola giants, but which one should you add to your portfolio? Should it be PepsiCo or Coke? And which is your favourite? Mine is Pepsi. In this video, we'll have a look at some of the financials, we'll look at how they've performed over the past 5 to 10 years, and we'll look out into the future and see what growth might look like there. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, hi, I'm Mark of Desperately Seeking Fi. So these two companies have competitive edges within the whole beverage industry. They hold market share, with Coke holding more of a market share than Pepsi, but they are huge companies. They do things slightly differently, but let's have a quick look at what these two companies are all about. So let's start off with Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has been around for over 100 years, so it is still there and it is still continuing to grow. It is basically just a beverage company with some great well-known names. We're looking at the Coke and all the derivatives of Coke. We've also got Smart Water, we've got Fanta, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, Oasis, and then into the Powerade, Schweppes and Costa Coffee. If we have a look at PepsiCo, it is slightly different because it isn't just a drinks company, it also has its Fretto, Lay, snack and also the oat side of things through Quakers. Some of the names you will definitely know in here. So we start off with the beverages. You've got your Pepsi Max, your 7-Up, you're into Mountain Dew and Gatorade and Lipton iced tea. On the snack side of things, lots of packaged convenience stuff here. So we're looking at Walker's Crisps, Doritos, Snap and Jacks, and Monster Munch being some of those ones that we know within the UK, but also branching out into premier brands like the Piper's Crisps. And then on the oat side of things, slightly more delicious and nutritious, but you're looking at the Quakers and the Scott's Oats. So that's sort of what we are all about when we're looking at the different brands that they have. They are very well known. Coke being very much a fizzy drinks brand, and looking at Pepsi also having the snack side of things. But let's have a quick head-to-head on the two companies, and what I'll do is I'll go through a number of different financials and a bit of projections out into the future before doing a bit of a summary, starting with the market cap. Both very much of a muchness here. Coke coming in just slightly bigger at 253 billion as opposed to Pepsi coming in at 245. On the dividend yield side of things, once again, Coke coming in slightly higher with a forward dividend yield of 3.14%, but Pepsi not that far behind, coming in at 2.83%. So Coke is sat 2-0 up at this stage. Let's take a jump into the dividend growth side of things, and we'll do this over 2 time periods. We'll look at the 5-year and the 10-year period and see how the two companies have stacked up. On both the 5 and the 10, Pepsi comes out as the winner on both. So if we look at the 5-year dividend growth rate, we're looking at a 3.44 for Coke as opposed to a 6.87 for the PepsiCo brand. Looking at 10-year, it's 5.34 for Coke and 8.13 for PepsiCo. So that levels the field at 2-all. Let's then have a quick look at one of the things that I'm quite interested in looking into on companies is what is their payout ratio. How much do they give their shareholders through their dividends? I like to see this somewhere in around the 50% mark, but both these companies are quite a bit above that. But I suppose if you think about it, they are both dividend kings. They've been growing their dividends for 50 plus years, so they don't need to innovate too much, which is why you have Coke coming in at 74% payout ratio with 82% for Pepsi. So we are sat at 3-2 for Coca-Cola. Let's go into the second half. We will look at revenue growth rate and looking at that being projected forwards. Looking at the sector median is somewhere in around 5.39%, and both companies coming out ahead of that. You have PepsiCo coming in at 6.75, whereas just trumping that you have Coke coming in at 6.99%. Here's a quick question for you. Out of the two, which is your favourite to taste? And then I'll ask you at the end, which is your favourite to invest into. Looking at the 5-year CAGR, we are looking at Coke coming in at about 5.45%, whereas well over double that at 11.13 we have PepsiCo. Looking at how these companies have grown over time, or how the stock price has grown over time, you are looking at Pepsi being much more aggressive and seeing greater growth rates. And then tying into that, looking at what does the PE, so the price to earnings, look like for both of the companies. These are both actually quite high for what you would expect to be quite slow moving companies, because they've been around for years and they don't put lots of money back into innovation. But you're looking at Coca-Cola coming in at 24.23 and 31.26 for Pepsi. So I think looking through all of this, what are we actually saying? We are saying that they are both huge hitters within the field. They are probably reasonably safe. It would be very difficult for a new company to come in and steal a great deal of the market share from either of the two companies. And Coke, obviously, with its brand of Coca-Cola and changing Santa Claus's outfit from green to red, you've got to be pretty hard hitter to achieve that. You've also got people like Warren Buffett has invested into that, and in the 80s he invested in, and he has made, through all of that compound growth, generated huge amounts of profit through dividends. He's also seen promoting it quite a bit, as you'll see in this clip where he's having a Coke. It also comes down to what are you looking for in different companies. They both have their pros and cons. There are certain things that they are better at. If you're looking at that and the CAGR side of things and the growth, you could be looking at Pepsi. But if you look at a broader set of factors, and the new CEO coming in has turned the company around in the Coca-Cola side of things, reduced the number of brands and products that they had, really focusing in on what was winning. And through doing that and through focusing the effort, there potentially is more opportunities for growth within Coca-Cola, and it may potentially be a better investment. Quite a lot of times people say just invest into both, but there are other ways that you could potentially get your hands on this. You could look at investing through an ETF. One such one that we in the UK can get our hands on is the US Dividend Aristocrat, and basically look at investing into the two companies. They come in 13th and 17th place within this ETF. Just under 2.9% of this ETF actually invests into these two companies. And basically this dividend pays a yield of 2.31%, so not that far off what you would be getting on either of these. But maybe you want to go and have a quick look at a review of this US Dividend Aristocrat ETF and see whether that is something that you would rather do, as opposed to invest into the two separate companies. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.